about to take a journey that will take you through the space-time continuum to a world full of nothing but geeks. Welcome to Galaxy of Geeks Podcast. Here are your hosts, Victor and Chris. Punch it!
The quarantine edition of the podcast, as it's becoming known as.
Well, but that's yeah, because we're so close to one another, we can actually record in the same 6 feet from one another.
Yeah, you guys need to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the back up a little bit. So thanks everybody for whoever's gonna jump on live. As always, the show will stay in Facebook, and then we'll post it up on YouTube. And then we've also been now doing the audio version of this and putting it on the podcast feed. So if you guys want to just be able to just listen to it and don't want to see our mugs, you could just get it off of the RSS feed, go to the website, and all the places where we always Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, the whole shebang. Also the website, galaxygeeks.net. You can listen to all the past episodes are up there as well. I think on all the other streaming sites too, they're still up there. So
yes, they are.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining us. We have a very special guest with us today who has been on the show before on the audio side of the show, not on the video side. But we have the heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh boy.
Mr. Roch Vaillancourt. How are you, sir?
I am very good. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for jumping on. So just a little backup, and I'll let Victor go into it because Roch and Victor have done episodes without me in the past already on the audio version of the podcast. So there's a reason why we wanted Roch here tonight. So I'll throw it over to Victor.
Yeah.
Down there.
Over there.
Over there.
So cool.
There.
Yeah. So for people that follow what we've done in the past, the episodes that me and Roch have done are wrestling centric because Roch is down in Florida. He gets to catch a lot of shows, especially NXT shows. You get to see him on TV. You get to see him more than some of the wrestlers on TV.
Especially some of the ones that they just knocked out.
Yeah, exactly. So what's happened, this is kind of the trickle-down effect because last week we got word of XFL first shutting down for good, then filing bankruptcy and firing everyone, essentially letting everyone go.
Yeah.
And with this, I guess the big thing that Vince had been kind of saying wasn't true was that, he was using WWE money to keep the XFL afloat. So the move this week was that after they were given what the hell's the wording that the governor said down there, that they're an essential
business.
An essential business. They have been allowed to tape live, which they had been taping and playing things on delay or whatever. It wasn't live, right. Basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because of everything that's going on, because of the uncertainties of everything, and because of the lack of influx of money, because they're not doing live shows, there isn't that constant stream of revenue coming in or as much as what was coming in. They've let a lot of talent, backstage people that we don't even know about, because, the list that we're seeing are from their talent, their producers, basically, for the most part, which are the people that help put the matches together. And from what one of the people let go, Aiden English, mentioned, he said hundreds of people up at the Stanford Towers, their headquarters, have been let go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is much bigger than what we're, looking at or what we know. Obviously we're looking at all the talent that's being released because that's who we know, or even some of the backstage people because they're former talents themselves. But I mean, the whole scope of things is much bigger. I mean, this is obviously the coronavirus, COVID-19 has affected everyone in all walks of life, and this is no different. For Roch is someone that I'd been talking to more or less all day yesterday because he knows a lot of these people because he's been seeing them. A lot of the people, as he just alluded to, the NXT people are people that we don't get to see on TV for the most part, but you've seen on house shows.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Like, get an example. You had MJ Jenkins that they, one of the ladies that they let go, and Dan Matha. Those are two fairly regular people on the Florida loops. Like what they want to call them. Deonna Purrazzo, I've seen her quite a few times at the house shows here, but she's been a handful of times on TV. So.
And she's a Jersey girl too, right?
Yep. Yeah, born in Jefferson and lives in Hackettstown. Well, lived in Hackettstown, lives in Florida now.
Probably going to go back as soon as she can, because from what I've been seeing and then reading online all over the place, apparently she wanted her release at least a year ago. So, wow. And she has a kid, and I think she sees the kid only every couple of months or something. So,
wow.
I think I think she's ready to go back because since they weren't really using her, so it sounded like she was kind of happy about the release. So.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because it's something that we were talking about yesterday in the group chat. Is that some of these people? I mean, the way that my train of thought anyway with this is that they have to have some inside information with regards to AEW, with regards to how much they actually have taped. Because, I mean, the rumor is, and Roch is, again, I've always said when we do the wrestling shows, he's the one that walks me off the ledge, and he always says, unless PWI says it, don't believe it. But, Busted Open, which I try to listen to every day. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet today. They've been talking about that they have 3 months worth of content recorded. So if they have 3 months worth of content recorded, this is a calculated risk where, yes, they'll lose some of these people, but I think the vast majority will come back just due to the fact that AEW can't sign all of them. Due to the fact that, how many Impact is the only other show that's still taping because they have their own facility, but it's up in Toronto. How many people are going to be able to get to Toronto to do this? Then again, Tommy Dreamer goes back and forth between New York and Toronto to tape, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe, I just don't want to interrupt. I believe Impact, they said they were going to be doing their shows in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, somewhere over there.
Right. So, and that's a big hub for a lot of entertainment in general because it's a city to fly in and out of for relatively cheap, and as to live there as well. And it's always been a hotbed for wrestling. But to my point, the discussion yesterday that we had in the group was about like Zack Ryder or Heath Slater, or people like this. I mean, I can totally see a Rusev not coming back. I can see a Deonna Purrazzo, after what you just said, not coming back. I could see someone like a Eric Rowan going to AEW to be featured more alongside Luke Harper because, I mean, that's just a fact of the matter.
And that's that's just that would just be natural too.
Yeah, I know people are saying the club is going to jump ship automatically. I mean, I don't know, because there's still the ties with AJ and with Finn and stuff like that, where there could be some more longevity in them being part of the program. And they were just featured during the Undertaker AJ Styles match. So it isn't as if they haven't been heavily featured these last few months. Are they getting, and this was the argument yesterday, like with considering some of these guys jobbers or not, are they getting the push that a world champion is getting? No, not at all. But in what promotion do you see, You know, that's like comparing Jungle Boy's push to Chris Jericho's push. It's not the same, you know, and it's like that in every federation. You know, unfortunately, and Roch has always pointed this out, to me anyway, some of this talent has a cap, has a ceiling to where they're going to get. As much as we love them as performers, as much as we like seeing them, they're just not in that upper echelon of talent. I mean, I loved Sanity, but is Eric Young going to get all of a sudden a world title push because he was the champ in TNA? I don't see it happening, you know? So, I mean, there's a lot of people here that I think will be back. And I think a lot, or not a lot, I think a small majority will walk. And again, it's a calculated risk because, again, AEW doesn't have revenue now either. The Khan family is suffering the same stuff as the McMahon family is. So it's not going to be like, oh, these guys are automatically going someplace. There's no indie scene right now. No one's flying to Japan. You know, this is affecting everyone. Roch, do you see anyone out of the people that have been released that's automatically, do you think, not coming back?
Well, first off, just to walk you off the ledge.
Sure. Okay.
I think these cuts happen now because now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know any wrestlers personally who are with WWE, but I don't know if they're paid weekly or if they're paid bi-weekly or if they're paid twice a month. A lot of people are paid twice a month on the 1st and on the 15th.
Right.
I'm thinking they're probably paid twice a month. And it would make sense for them to be laid off on the 15th so that they can get their last paycheck on the 30th or on the 1st of May. And, you know, it makes sense business-wise to do it now, right in the middle of the month. So, you know, I don't think there's a calculated risk like you were saying. You know, I just think that, they even though they let him go, they kind of still care about the people, you know.
Right.
So if they get the opportunity to go somewhere else, well, hey, that's why they're letting him go. Hey, if you can go somewhere else, just go, you know. So to get back to your question, so people who I think will not come back. Rusev is not coming back.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, he's probably going to be one of the ones picked up by AEW because you know he's got.
Do you think that means Lana doesn't come back either, or is just Lana's gonna do her own thing?
I think Lana is the same. I think Lana is the same case as Renee Young and Jon Moxley. You know, she's still under contract. Why can't they work in two different places? Same thing with Britt Baker and Adam Cole. You know.
Yeah.
So you know, but Rusev is not coming back. I'm looking at the list. EC3 is not coming back. That's for sure.
No.
I could see him go back to Impact. I definitely could see that. Let's see. I don't think Angle would come back. I think Kurt Angle is just going to retire now. You know, just be like, okay, I'm done. You know, agent. We don't know how well he was doing as an agent back there. You know, it's a hard job apparently. So, you know, he may be thinking, hey, this is just not for me. You know, and I'm just gonna retire for good and just go do autograph shows. You know,
or he starts. They bring him into AEW and he starts kind of getting like a Jake the Snake sort of figure where he's not wrestling, but he's like a guy
figurehead.
Pulling the strings, things like that.
Yeah, but don't they have enough of those? They've got Arn, they've got Tully, they've got Jake, they've got, you know, do they need Kurt Angle too?
Yeah, true. It's true. Overload.
You know, so I mean, definitely not coming back. I would say those two or three. Let's see. I'm just looking at. Does
Aiden English go with Rusev though?
That could be cool, but then would AEW really do that? Because then they're really taking a WWE product and putting it there. You know, would their ego let them do that?
We'll see him on Mirror Off Day.
It's just like Eric Rowan. You know, oh yeah, he could go to AEW, but please don't put him together with with Brody Lee. I mean, that would just be stupid. I mean, I'm actually praying the wrestling gods for them not to do that, because it'd be stupid. Then again, they're going to be stuck doing the same thing that they used to do, unless they have a revolutionary idea, it's not going to work.
TNA and WCW. I mean, for as much as people want to bitch about TNA and AEW being different, they've all taken the page that WCW has done. Hey, let's sign this guy because he just came from WWE, WWF.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I hope that's not the case, but I think it's one of those things where they're going to say it's a shoo-in. He'll be, the whatever. He'll be the Exalted 2. He'll be,
Yeah. It makes me laugh how everybody's like, oh, yeah, AEW's going to get them all or most. No, they're not. They're not.
They can't afford it.
Not just that. They're not. They're going to look say, okay, well, yeah, we can do something with this guy. We can do something with this guy. And this guy, I don't think so. So let's pass. I mean, they're not automatically going to sign everybody.
There's going to be 5 to 10 people max that they sign.
I think that's 10. Generous. I'm thinking 2 or 3.
Yes. Well, I don't disagree with you. I think 10 is being overly generous. 5 is, 3 to 5. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Rusev. Who did we just say? EC3 is probably going back to Impact, as you mentioned. Yeah.
I could see Drake Maverick
a lot
going
of these other people could be, because they were paired up together in Impact. That's true.
Yeah.
Out of these people, who do you think that who do you think that is an automatic for coming back? I mean, I personally don't think anyone is automatic, not from the talent standpoint. I think the producers are more likely to come back than the talent.
It's going to be a financial decision. I mean, purely motivated by finance. Like, who's going to come back, and it's going to be totally based. I think talent is actually going to be the second way. Like, how much does this person cost or going to cost to bring back? And I think, I think you're going to see a lot more of the internal folks brought back first. Writers, producers. I mean, that's just my thought, because you need them to then have to work with the talent, and then I think you can get choosy with who you're going to make offers to, and they're probably going to get people back for less. I mean, that there's going to be that too. I mean,
that could be the case.
I mean, man, when you're out of work, you're out of work, and if you're not getting any other offers and you can't collect unemployment, or you're just you're not making a lot of money on the indie scene or appearances or whatever. I mean, all this stuff is going to be so few and far between. Like, conventions are not going to be happening for a while. So it's you hope that they're not going to lowball people, but I think it's going to be what it's going to be until the money machine starts up again. Because right now it's not the machine's not working. It's not rolling, and you're not doing live shows, so you're not making any money off these ticket sales. And you can only keep doing these merch emails I keep getting of buy one get 3 50. It's just people are going to be spending a lot less money on merch as the longer this goes on.
Oh yeah. Well, unless you're a Vinnie Vincent fan, and now is the time to shell out $9,500 for an autograph package. Best time possible when everyone has money coming in.
My brother is saying some of them were let go just because they suck too. They can't gain the people.
I don't know that they suck, because I think all of the people that they let go are talented one way or another. I mean, there's what's that?
I said I like Rusev.
Yeah, I like Rusev. I know Roch
it's just simple.
Wasn't the biggest Rusev fan at one point in time, but I mean, I think he's. He can be entertaining, but it's one of these cases where depends how someone's used. And we've seen it time after time with someone being great at NXT, going up, a Bobby Roode, great at NXT, goes up to the main roster, and now he's let's just throw them together in a tag team with Ziggler because there's nothing else.
Well, it's exactly what we said was going to happen with Ricochet, and it totally has happened.
Yeah, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Let's put the two guys that got the pause button pushed on their push. Let's put them together.
Yeah. Now, so, I'm wondering. Okay, so we know that wrestlers they're under contract, and they can be let go anytime. And they're not being furloughed. They're not being laid off. They're just being released. Mm-hmm. So, but have you read anywhere like these producers, are they under contract or are they WWE employees with benefits? Because then some of these could just be furloughed.
I mean,
they're being furloughed. I read they're being furloughed.
WWE employees, because I've got a friend who's, and I haven't talked to him in a while since all this started out. It's been a while, and he's with the WWE and he's a technical guy. So I like I said, I haven't talked to him in years, so I don't know what's going on there. But he's definitely 100% an employee of the WWE, and the behind the scenes guy. He works in the post production side of things, and he's an employee with benefits and everything. So I think a lot of the producers there are like WWE employees who are getting their benefits and have their salaries and doing their thing. That's what I think. I mean, they probably have some 1099s when they maybe go to some of these when they're on tour and they're doing a quick thing and they're going to hire some local talent to help them produce a piece in town or something. So they'll probably have somebody like that. But I tend to think more of those guys tend to be like the camera guys, the grip, the local production crew. And it would be like their in-house producer sort of running the show. But I don't know that for a fact. I'm making kind of an assumption on that.
Yeah. Like guys like Daivari and Finlay and Rotunda, I'm assuming they're all employees and that most of them are probably being furloughed.
That's what I read. Sure. I read they're being furloughed. Mm-hmm. I read everyone who's in that group that you just mentioned, Roch, from Kidman on down. I read that they're all being furloughed, and that's kind of I know Shane Helms took to Instagram and mentioned, hey, this is a temporary thing for most of us. Once this all turns around, we all expect to kind of come back. So
there you go. It's kind of like me. I'm in that boat. I was, as we speak tomorrow, I'm being furlouged. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, hey, well, if I could get, well, there you go. If I could only get on the Florida, unemployment website and freaking file, that'd be awesome. Yeah. But it's a nightmare.
Well, hey, you should use this real quick. Hey, not the plug and somebody that's not giving us any money, but there is an app that for unemployment called Do Not Pay. And you download the app, and for free they'll file the paperwork for you, and they actually do it by sending in the paper application, because it's actually faster than the website because the systems are so archaic. But you should try it, because I saw it on the news yesterday. Of course, it doesn't work with New Jersey, but I don't know if it may work with Florida. But they said it's actually a faster way of getting through the system.
Okay, I'll have to make note.
Take all your information, and they'll fill out the application and send it in the mail for you.
Okay, I'll take note of that. Thank you.
So I expect a check now from Do Not Pay, because we just gave you a free ad. All the
Galaxy
people watching the streaming.
Of course, there has to be someone from that company watching.
Yeah.
Come on.
Your check is in the mail. Oh, I just got a text. Your check is in the mail.
There you go. I could see the commercial being shot now.
Yeah.
See, you're thinking, you're still thinking on the job, Chris.
I know. I can't help it.
So how long do you guys think it will take for all of this to settle? One, and two, who's to say that the other promotions don't start doing the same thing?
Well, I mean, you've got to figure AEW does not have the same bankroll that WWE has, and I'm sure they've probably been feeling this. They've had to have been feeling this. I guess I'm not going to say before Vince, but I'm sure they're going to be put into a spot of making some tough decisions, really soon, because they just don't have, I'm sure, the capital. And if Vince is doing this, and he's got, the $500 million he was going to bankroll the XFL with and all that. Like, I don't know. And that's, you know, it's AEW and then all your other ones. It's like, you know, I think you may just be hitting the pause button on a lot of these. Because if they're not generating revenue, then how can you? I mean, there's nobody going to see shows. I mean, the only other thing you can do is like the pay-per-views, but how many pay-per-views are you going to do?
Yeah, it's going to be the same amount because you're going to be, well, guarantee you that Money in the Bank is going to be at the PC unless they can rent out an arena. I mean, just so that they can fit in a super humongous ladder. But outside of that, you know, I'm thinking they got to be careful with that fan at the entrance.
Yeah,
you know that's the WWE's biggest fan right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The biggest fan in the world. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I wonder if they do like rent out. I mean, you're right, like rent out a larger facility but I mean, once again, that's a lot of money, right? So why spend money you don't necessarily need if you're not going to make it back?
But at the same time, the arena isn't being used. So it's one of these questions where, you know, a McMahon can come to them and say, hey, you know, you're not making any money. I know my usual fee is, you know, 50 grand to rent the arena. How about I do it for 10? You guys make 10 or 20 or whatever it is instead of the usual fee, just so, you know, you guys get or, you know, it's some type of advertisement and, you know, they rent the place out instead of it being, you know, dead basically.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, I guess it depends how hard up people are to rent spaces out and all that. I mean, this is just, I mean, as far as like what you said, like how long it's going to last. I mean, I think that's the $1 million question that's on everybody's minds across every single aspect of, you know, any form of business centered to everything, you know, like how long is it going to be before we get back to this or that? And I honestly think you're going to be doing shows to no audiences for a long time. I mean, not forever, but I don't think it's coming back in like 2 or 3 months. I think it's going to probably be, if not to be so pessimistic about it, I just feel like until people feel comfortable to go into a huge live arena setting and, you know, be sitting next to somebody, which they probably won't do. They're going to probably stagger seating. I mean, you know, I think it's all going to come down to like the testing. And obviously if, you know, if there's, I mean, vaccine is I feel like it's light years away, or at least over a year away. You know, I don't think you can see it coming back till at least closer to the end of the year. Somebody's saying, who's saying September? Somebody just said September, and probably. Oh, Ken Ventry's in here. Are you guys? Here we go. Backing up on some of the comments here. Ken Ventry, have any of you guys seen the Chinese Professional Baseball League? It started up and it's strange. No fans, but robots in the crowd to simulate fans.
Wow. Oh, they're doing that in Germany because Germany is playing. Their soccer teams have started practicing. They've been given the green light to do that, and in one stadium, what they've done is that season ticket holders were given the option to pay for cutouts that look like them, and they're going to be in the seats. Yes.
A cardboard cutout.
Yes, a cardboard cutout. You know, just imagine the Rangers say, okay, do you want to be present at a game, even though we're not going to have fans? You pay whatever, $100. They scan your face and you're put right there in the stands.
That's cool.
Oh my God. That's nuts to me. That seems like something that you just totally made up, but I know that you're totally not making that up.
I'll send you a link.
But I know you're not making it up, but it sounds like that. Yeah, the robot thing is crazy, but I guess, you know, that's a thing. Like if you see it work in a country like they're saying in Chinese Baseball League, and you see something like that working and people are watching it and they're interacting with it, then you got to say, well, why not try it? Like, you know, I said it on, I think, the last show, and as much as everybody, you know, we've been slagging on Vince, and, you know, and right now his PR is not very good, and there's a lot going on there, but I don't want to. We're not turning this into a political show. But I have always said that I give all these in the AEW, I give them credit for trying to still put a show on and entertain people weekly, multiple times a week. And they're trying, and listen, I don't think it's the best, but it's, I don't know. You gotta say, is it better than nothing? Because it could just be nothing, and we could just be watching old reruns on the app, or they'll just broadcast WrestleManias and SummerSlams and stuff like that, which they could do, but
yeah, that's why I'm giving them a pass for a lot of things, and I think in the end you also have to see, this is something that I've been thinking about. How much talent do they actually need to run all three shows? Because this could come down to them just keeping 20 people per show.
Kind of going back really old school.
Yeah, where because you're only going to be able to use a certain amount of talent week after week. If you look at Raw, for example, it's been pretty much the same 10 to 15 people.
I mean, NWA has been like that. NWA does not have this gigantic roster of wrestlers.
I mean, and in the we know that the Performance Center has supposedly like 150 people there that are training, plus the NXT talent. I mean, I could see them easily just holding on to the essentials and just letting everyone else go for the time being.
There's a reason why Austin Theory is on Raw now. Yeah.
That's one of the things that I was going to mention. He's brought up because of this, because let's honestly think about it. He probably wasn't coming up until next year, but because of the fact that they're whittling things down, he's on that roster now. The same thing with Bianca. There's a bunch of different things that are going to happen like that, where they're going to squeeze everything, and it makes you wonder, was putting the NXT women's belt on Charlotte all along calculating for this to happen, because they've been dealing with this for a month, and maybe up until now they figured, hey, we're going to need to make some drastic calls to make sure that all three of these shows still keep garnering attention. And having Charlotte on NXT is going to garner fans. I mean, arguably, she's the best performer in the company and possibly the world, depending on who you speak to. Also, the other thing that I want to bring up that I've seen people talk about is that this may actually open the door for them to finally spread NXT into other territories where there's been resistance. There's been talk about them finally being able to get into Japan, only because some of the lower promotions there who wouldn't have sold to Vince initially are going to run out of money. So they're not going to have a choice. It's going to be either file for bankruptcy or make a deal with the devil, because they have no other option. And this could be something that's being factored into all this as well, with them cutting money in certain areas so that they can actually in the long run be able to take advantage of certain things as well. And I mean, that's just a fact of life and a part of business that I wouldn't fault them. I know people are going to be bitching about it, but they've been wanting to branch out for the last few years. I mean, there have been so many rumors about going to Japan, going to India, going to Mexico, and this may actually be one of the byproducts that we get out of this whole situation.
Yeah, very true. Apparently, they tried to buy All Japan, or is All Japan still around?
I think it was Noah, which is where Kenta came from before he went to NXT and back. And then there were like 3 or 4 other promotions. I'm not sure if it was All Japan, but I think it was someone that was involved with All Japan was one of the heads of one of the other promotions. The rumor is that they tried buying like 4 or 5 different promotions and nobody would sell because no one wants them there. But business, I mean, in the end, they need money.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, nobody's working for free.
Yeah.
Well, some people might be working for free now, but now I haven't watched Raw at all this week, and this was a live show, right? Am I right
Yes.
about that? Okay.
Mhm.
Did you guys watch Raw this Monday, the live show?
I perused it, because usually when it's on, I'm on the computer and I'm doing other stuff. But I did, and it looked like a tape show.
Yeah.
It's it may be live, but you can't tell. It's so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I similar deal. I skipped through the show, and it's the same thing without having the fans there and whatnot. And I'm not knocking that aspect of it. It has the same feel as what they were producing before. It isn't as if, it went from watching a minor league game to all of a sudden, watching the Stanley Cup finals. It's not a drastic change. It's more or less, 1A and 1B. So
right.
I thought, the show was all right. And I think that, they're highlighting all the right people too. I mean, if you look at it, getting back to the discussion from yesterday, you have the Street Profits continuously being shown on Raw. You have Andrade, as long as he's not injured, being shown.
Mm-hmm.
You have all of the titles are there, and they're kind of being relevant. Again, similar to what I just said about Charlotte. Did the Lesnar title change also have to do with this, with them kind of saying, you know what, we don't know when we're going to be able to bring you back, so we can't have the title, in limbo for 8 months if that's what's going to happen.
Could be. I mean,
he lives in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's making a lot of money. His contract, I think, is pretty large.
Because I think he's paid per appearance, so it makes sense to keep him away right now.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Do they go to people that are making, the bigger bucks on the roster and ask them to take temporary pay cuts in the meantime to try to keep things afloat?
They might, especially because if the alternative is not working at all.
Yeah.
And getting $0, then they may, just to say, hey, it's a temporary. We're furloughing people. We're going to bring you on, but you're going to have, listen, that's the thing. I know plenty of people who are still working, but they're like on a 20-30% reduced pay.
Yeah.
So they're still getting a check, but it's a lot less. It could be the same thing here for sure. It's definitely realistic to ask somebody to do that temporarily.
Could someone like a Roman Reigns walk away altogether and say, look, due to my health issues, I'm done?
It's a risk, man. I am sure there's tons of doctors he's seen, but I would just go with, I know plenty of people who are survivors who have just, are recently recovered, and, they are not leaving the house like at all. It's so, I think depending on where he's at health-wise, it's definitely a giant risk for him with underlying health issues of, having fought leukemia now a couple times, right? Two times.
Yep.
I would be scared. I think you'd be perfectly within right to say, I'm not coming back until there's a freaking cure for this thing. Like, you can take all the precautions in the world, but if you get it and your immune system's weakened, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble.
And I'm sure WWE themselves are probably telling him, okay, now you stay away, because they don't want a lawsuit either.
No,
yeah.
It's a giant health risk for somebody like that,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so we got a quick question here for you guys. What site blog do you guys use to get all the insider knowledge that you have? Signed, Ken Ventured.
I use exclusively PW Insider. I don't go anywhere else, because they've proven to me over the years that they double source and triple source their stories. And I've seen many times they do Q&As on the site also, and many times people will ask them, hey, why didn't you not report this thing or that thing? They said, and they always say, well, it's because we couldn't double source it. Yes, we heard about it, but we couldn't verify the source. And unless we can double or triple verify it, we don't report on it. And also, they never publish any of those leaked pictures, like from Paige and Charlotte. They don't They don't do that stuff. It's like that's their personal lives. That's nothing to do with wrestling. So they don't touch that stuff. So a lot of times when people like when the whole thing with Paige happened, I had no idea. I had no idea. My friends like, did you see pictures of Paige? I'm like, no. Well, what's going on? And that's because PW Insider never reported on it. The only time they did talk about it is when she made a statement about it. Then they reported on it. So so PW Insider for me exclusively.
Yeah. Well, outside of PWI, which is what Roch pointed me to, I do like to walk on the ledge. I do have a tendency to have diarrhea of the mouth from time to time. So, I do go to WrestleZone.com on a daily basis, and I go to Ringsider News. I would say Ringsider News is the extreme opposite of what you just said, Roch, because when all those pictures leaked, they were the first ones to post it. Whenever Lana posts a bikini picture, when Deonna Purrazzo posted a bikini picture, or Chelsea Green, they're all front page news on Ringsider News. So
front page.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, which website is it that Ryan Satin runs? Apparently that's a good one too. He's on the one of the WWE shows. I can't remember which one. But
he's on the bump. But because he's the one that leaked the whole Gronk thing.
Is it Pro Wrestling Sheets? No, Pro Wrestling. I can't remember.
It's one of them. Yeah. Well, Ringside News is basically is summed up with, and WrestleZone does this as well. They post everything that Ryan Satin, Dave Alvarez, and Dave Metzler talk about anyway. So I mean, it's more or less you don't have to subscribe to any of their things anymore because these other sites are basically. Posting all their bigger, juicier comments.
Right.
Call that journalism. Yeah.
Yes. That's journalism in 2020,
Copy paste.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you'd be surprised at how many times they can't even do that right. So So as far as another thing to bring up, since Ken brought it up, Roch listens to a lot of different wrestling podcasts.
Oh yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, what are some of the shows that you recommend for people to check out?
Well, I recently started Busted Open, maybe 6 months ago. I started listening to those guys, but I don't listen to the Sirius feed. I just listen to their podcast version, which is like an hour long. Let's see. I listen to Jericho. I listen to Steve Austin. I used to listen to Edge and Christian. I used to love their podcast, man. It was so awesome.
Yeah.
But it's the ones I listen to are the actual performers, I don't listen to, I don't even know if MLW still has a podcast. I listen to Cornette a lot, Jim Cornette. I love him. Except when he goes on a political rant, then I kind of fast forward, But yeah, so that's where I'm getting all my stuff because it's the insiders, these guys are in the business and they know stuff. And sometimes I guess they may be saying stuff that they're not supposed to be saying, And once in a while you're like, oh, I think I just heard a little juicy tidbit here,
Right.
So Hurricane, I listen to Hurricane Helms, I listen to his too. I listen to maybe 8 or 9 of them. They not all come into mind right now, but yeah, I listen to a bunch of them.
Busted Open is the one that I listen to the most, and it's because of what you just said. I really like listening to Mark Henry was the one that kind of drew me in because I like listening to Mark Henry talk because he always sounds genuine when he's storytelling and when he's discussing different things. I've started to get a grasp for what Bully or Bubba Ray's all about. Like initially it was kind of harsh listening to him, but he's grown on me and I've come to appreciate what how he talks and explains things like the Ronda Rousey comments that they've been talking about these last few days. Mark Henry was one extreme and I think Bully was a completely opposite way of bringing it up. And I thought it was great to hear him really dissect that and really, ask, is it a work or is it a shoot? And if it's one, it's cool. Yeah. If it's the other one, then she's being a real dick about things,
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to hear that because, was definitely an insider perspective, like you were saying, with people taking offense to her saying that it's fake because, let's be honest, she wrestled with the best of the best in the world because no other promotion has the talent that they have. And she looked great in every single match, no matter who she wrestled with.
Yeah.
It would have been easy. And let's think about it. Back in the 80s, someone like her comes in and Roddy Piper, Orndorff, people like this are not fucking bowing down to her and not making sure that she's getting, the shine that she got in these matches. I mean, all that goes to, to Natalya, to Charlotte, to Sasha Banks, to Alexa, to Becky Lynch, for as much as they're talking about, well, they wouldn't have headlined WrestleMania because, obviously Ronda's a household name. But at the same time, Ronda could have really looked like shit if they wanted her to look like shit. And,
100%.
Yeah. And if this isn't a work, if she does come back, first of all, she's going to have nuclear fucking,
fans are going to rain down on her. But
yes. And second of all, if it's true that, this was a shoot, people are going to go out of their way to fucking hurt her. And as much as she's, and I mentioned this in the group, as much as she comes from judo, she comes from MMA, but if she goes up against someone who's heavier than her and has somewhat of a capability of defending themselves, what she can do doesn't mean shit. If Nia Jax wants to lay the smackdown on her, she's fucking her up because there's like a 200-pound difference there.
Well, I mean, I think any of them too. I mean, geez, Charlotte could like totally manhandle her.
Well,
I mean,
it depends because if you listen to her father actually talk, though, if you listen to like Flair talk to Austin about like old Harley Race stories, and he always talked about it. He said they're legitimate tough guys in wrestling, and there are people that do it well on camera, which are two completely different things. And he would always say Harley Race was the toughest bastard he ever met. And he said Harley Race would even go into bars, he would be his bodyguard to purposely start shit because he just wanted to fight.
He was looking for a fight. He's just a guy just looking for a conflict.
So there's the thing, with Ronda and her comments, she's going to get nuclear heat one way or another, and maybe she doesn't come back at all. I mean, it could be that we've seen the last of her.
Could be.
Apparently, she still has a year on her contract.
Yeah, but then again, with all of this, do they extend that indefinitely, or do they buy her out somehow, or how does this all play out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could have been part of a buildup of her and her doing the thing, but it's what I brought up yesterday. What do they do with all the Legends contracts? You've got Hogan on retainer, you've got Flair, you've got Austin, you've got Bret Hart, you've got. I mean, I think that stuff just gets whittled away one by one. I mean, at this point, it becomes a line item, and you're like, we got this much money in the bank that we're willing to spend, and this much on payroll or whatever. And it's like, what's most important right now? What do we need What do we need today to get by till things come back online again? What can we get by with? And I think those are the decisions that they're looking at and making, and they're hard decisions because it's like, and for these people, I mean, this is their jobs. This is what they're living on, and it's sort of, it just sucks. It just sucks all around. There really is no way about it,
I do think though, they're still going to be cautious because you let go of the wrong legend and they go to another promotion, even if they're just going to be a mouthpiece, it's going to draw attention.
Right,
So,
but I think you said it, or Roch, maybe you said it, somebody said it in the chat, but it's like, yeah, they let go, but where are they going to go right now? Because if everybody's in the same boat and Vince is cutting people and AEW doesn't have, if they start cutting people because they can't afford, I mean, where is there for anybody to really go? Because nobody is hiring anybody. Nobody has any money to give. So, I mean, that could be the case. And then they rehire people for less money, or it's all temporary. Like, I'm going to bring you back. It's going to be less. But, when things get up and going again, then we'll ramp you back up to where you were or more, whatever.
Yeah. But hypothetical, let's say that, and this isn't going to happen, but let's say they decide to let Austin go because they can't afford to do the shows on the network anymore.
Right.
I could see an AEW say, you know what, we're getting rid of 15 guys to bring Austin in.
Right. Or Austin maybe does it himself and says, I'll just do it myself. He's got the popularity. He's got the reach, I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Interesting times.
Interesting times. So, well,
Roch, is there anything else you want to address while you have this forum?
Yes, sir.
Did you guys watch NXT last night?
I did not. I have not watched it yet.
I just got to see the transformation of a killer to a carrion. Is that it?
Carrion Cross? Carrion Cross. Oh my God. Oh. It's still KK, but that was a cool moment. But no, I just wanted to bring up Timothy Thatcher. Are you guys familiar with him? Because I'm just not familiar with. I know of him. I've seen little clips, but this was my first match I ever saw. And there's somebody on Twitter. Oh, who was it? One of the WWE guys. He said. Come on, be honest. This is the first. Oh, it was Shane Thorne said, "Come on, be honest. This is your first Timothy Thatcher match you've ever seen." And I replied, I said, "Yeah, true. I know of him, but I've never seen." And I wasn't that impressed. It's like, okay, you can tell he doesn't know what to do with the camera. He was looking straight at the camera at the end when he was holding the title. And it's like that's a no-no. That's a no-no in WWE. You don't look straight at the camera. So he still has a lot to learn, but then they online on the WWE.com they had a little backstage thing after the match, and that was interesting with him and Riddle. So I think it's going to be good. He just needs to learn more about the camera work and stuff, because I don't know, it was just I was not impressed with his actual work. So I don't know if you guys know about him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you are. I know that there was a lot of hype when they signed him. But yeah, I mean, again, it's one of these things where he was thrust into that position because of everything that's going on. But you brought up a great point. Is what's going on with the bruiserweight?
I guess he's in England. He must be in England. I mean, did they do tapings? They did UK tapings, and I know he's on the. Them. Yeah, but I think just before all this happened.
Okay.
I think they were doing UK tapings, and I'm pretty sure he was on those shows. So maybe he's just stuck over there and he can't come back.
I mean, absolutely. If he is there, he's definitely not able to come back.
There has to be something visa related. I'm assuming, something that we kind of talked about. I mean, who knows? Did they? Because you said he has a working permit. Does that mean that the work permits were all voided when all this happened? When everything got shut down? I think
everything got suspended because of travel. I mean, there's no travel. There's travel happen.
But technically, if you were a citizen or a legal resident, you were able to fly back to the States. So there has to be something there that whatever permit he had, or maybe he was back renewing his permit. I mean, I don't know. It all depends.
Expired.
Because initially it's every 90 days or so you have to leave the country and to have your paperwork in order. I forget.
If you're just on a vacation visa though.
Okay, so I'm
work permit. I think it can be for several years, but it does have to be renewed at some point.
Right. So maybe it was. Who knows? Maybe it was only a 6-month permit, and he had to go back to renew it, and he just got caught up with everything that's going on.
I know that he moved his wife, and they have a very, very young child, less than a year old, and I know that they moved here. So are they here or are they with him? I mean, It's crazy. Kind of like the thing with apparently Rhea Ripley. Apparently she's back in Australia now because of a work permit issue.
But didn't they disprove that? Didn't
No,
they?
I haven't seen anything. So what did you see?
Yeah. Okay. So the sites that I go to were saying she's in Australia, and then 2 days later she's like, I'm in Orlando, and she took a picture in Orlando with like a newspaper and whatnot. So.
Okay. So I didn't see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened since or something. I mean, I don't know, but.
See, that's because PW Insider did not report on it because.
See.
Because
I couldn't verify it.
My friends were telling me about it, and I think you were telling me about it, but I never
brought it up. I never brought it up.
Okay, well, somebody told me about it, and I never saw anything on PW Insider, so I was like, okay, well, whatever. And then I kind of forgot about it. So, but okay, if she took a picture with a newspaper, then yeah, she's here.
This also brings up something interesting though, because this is automatically going to create a feud between Riddle and Thatcher and the Bruiserweight, and with everything for the titles, because this is all leading to something down the road. So I mean, it could just be that, and maybe it's just a work, the whole thing, that he's in England, but they're actually building to have him come back as like a surprise performer at some point. Or here's another thing, because they've been talking about this as well. We don't know how many of the wrestlers actually got sick. There's rumors that several of them got sick. Maybe he got sick, and that's why he's not on TV.
That could very well be. He is actually,
and that's the excuse that they prepared. He's back in England,
right?
So
they don't want to say someone's sick.
They showed him like remotely on the show, and he didn't sound like he was sick. He sounded normal. So, but who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
Do you think that Ciampa and Cross are a good fit for Cross's first feud?
Well, okay. So at the end of the episode, the previous episode, when Johnny is walking away with Candice, did you see the screenshot that some people took of the car? Killer Cross and Scarlett are in the car watching Johnny leave with Candice. So I thought that's where that was going. So I was totally surprised with what they did last night with him attacking Ciampa. So I'm thinking it's going to be a three-way type thing, a three-way dance at some point.
Yeah, with everything going on, one of the first things when they kept insisting, this is going to be the last time, this is going to be the last time, I was like, can't be the last time. There has to be something else
There has to be
going on. Because let's face it, one of those two, in my opinion, is going to end up taking the title from Cole, because it's just the way the things have been built. The people that are going to maintain NXT, I think, is going to be between them three. I mean, just the way that the heavyweight title picture is involved. They've gone away from having Cole involved in that so that they can have him feud with other people, so that it's not just Ciampa, Gargano, and Cole continuously, which makes sense. But this also, gives them another place to go, and it gives them, that ability to, well, we'll pair them up for a little, we'll split them back up, we'll have this three-way dance, we'll have, so there's a lot, and that's all making it so that Cross automatically gets a huge push as he enters NXT. For those that don't know him, this is going to propel him to the forefront of the federation, like they have with so many other people that have held the belt. If you look at it with McIntyre coming in, or with Samoa Joe coming in, or with Nakamura, they've always brought them in to face someone who's not in that heavyweight title picture, but like someone that you could say, hey, this guy is right there. He either held the title or he could potentially win it back. We saw that with Nakamura and Sami Zayn. We saw that with Joe and Finn Balor. There's so many things that they can do. And again, if they're going to be building for the next few months around 15 to 20 people, they have to make sure to take advantage and keep people watching the shows, and obviously they know what they have with him. I mean, we brought up EC3 before. He's not EC3. He's definitely someone who has a lot more talent and someone who they see, that Triple H and Regal see, as someone who's definitely going to be there to carry some of the load. So it's going to be cool to see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys want to talk about other stuff that I'm not, too much knowledge about. So, guys, I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. So, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us and talking wrestling.
Yeah. Chris, it was the first time we actually spoke. In person. Well,
I know. In person.
Well, it was a lot of fun, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on, Roch. Appreciate it.
All right. So have fun and have a good night.
You
All right,
too.
Roch. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Galaxy of Geeks podcast. You can stream this or download any of our episodes from galaxyofgeeks.net, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or Stitcher. You can also follow Galaxy of Geeks on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks again for listening. This concludes our show.